Hello and welcome to another episode of StratoCast, the Battletech podcast from the UK. Today we are looking at a product review from Thunderhead Studios. My name is Stuart, StratoCast Level 3, and I do events for Battletech UK South East in the UK. And today we're looking at a product which I've printed using my Ender 5 3D printer. That's a filament PLA printer. And I purchased the STLs from thunderheadstudios.com. And I've purchased lots of the STLs from Thunderhead Studios as they're based in America, and printed those products myself. But I'm just going to do the review of this particular product. This is not a paid endorsement, this is just something I bought, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. So the Grasslands map pack was produced by Catalysts Games, and as you can see, this is one of the 6 double-sided maps that comes with that Grasslands map pack, and one of those sets is Foothills 1 and 2. Now this product is sold as Piedmont Bluff, or Piedmont Bluff, how we want to say that, on the Thunderhead Studios site, but it is really the Foothills 1 and 2 set. So I guess for copyright purposes, he's just called it Field Piedmont Bluff rather than Foothills. But it does actually label in the product description that this is compatible with the Foothills map. And he has done these for all of the grassland maps now. Just recently, in the past year, he's originally started off just with the Grasslands 2 and 3 map, but now has done all of the Grasslands map pack maps. Those interested, the Grasslands 2 and 3 maps were in the Battletech: A Game of Armored Combat box set. So I might do a video on those at another time. So I've printed these off in the last couple of weeks. They take quite a bit of time to print, some of them. Some of the small ones, like this one over here, only took a few hours. And the larger pieces here, I think the largest one took about 17 hours. There are 10 pieces to the set. And some of the set nicely fits together into larger hills. So we've got these middle hill here. And if I remove this and unplug it, you can see it's got this nice little system. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of lift on this print, but it doesn't really show. It's okay, but it's got a nice little bit of connector there, which enables them to stay together. I would kind of say I'm 50-50 in favor of the clip system. It's a new system. He didn't use it with the previous ones. It's good because it keeps them together if you knock something. It's bad if you want to use them as separate hills. So 50-50. I'm not sure if I'm in favor or not, but otherwise it doesn't detract from the fact that this is an excellent product. The texturing has been completely redone, and this is great. I'm going to get a close-up on the texturing. So the texturing you get on the sides has come out really well, and for once my Ender 5 has really done this well. I've really got the leveling in. I think anyone who's got an Ender or a filament printer will know that leveling is key, and you can barely see any any marks for layer marks which you typically get with an Ender 5 or any filament printer. And what I've done to prepare this is I've printed it in black PLA. Now I've chosen black PLA because when you spray paint black PLA, it creates natural shadow. If you do it in white PLA, then it's really obvious if there's areas that you haven't managed to paint, whereas black, it creates a natural shadow if you miss a bit. So it's a bit forgiving in your painting. Now I don't have an airbrush, so all this is done with spray cans. So I started with a Army Painter grey spray paint, or you could use something like Mechanica, Citadel Mechanica's grey, and just put a grey undercoat on that. I then put a stone effect. Now you can buy the stone effect spray from Hobbycraft, and it basically puts out a spray with little lumps in it, and it creates this wonderful textured surface like this, which just looks brilliant. It's a real kind of granity look. Once I'd done that, I then went over the top with a texturing paste, a technical Citadel paint called Agrellan Dunes, I think it's called, and Agrellan Dust. So either of those I tend to use, and that creates a nice texture. And then once I've done the texture, you can still see the texture kind of peeks through to places where the next stage, which is flocking, hasn't occurred. So I've got a standard kind of model railway flock, and I've painted it in PVA. I didn't bother watering it down actually, I just put it on and then just sprinkled it over and let it set. I know some people say you could make this a bit more durable by then putting some watered down PVA over the top. And I actually think over time, if you do lose any bits, it actually creates a nice effect where you get these bits that kind of like poke through. So it's pretty stable. I've had a set of this done like this for a year and it's kept really, really well, even being taken in and out of boxes. You might notice I've put a couple of brown dots here. Now those brown dots I've just put a little bit of contrast paint on for a wildwood brown, just to mark where there would be trees. So if I look under the map here, this is one problem with this, is you don't know where the trees are. So I use that to mark where there are light woods, and that way we know that there are light woods there. And when I'm doing this in games, I tend to like to use the trees that I bought from a company called Amphimod, which are these lovely scale trees. They're what I would call mech scale rather than map scale. So they're 1/285th scale. And there's a guy on eBay. I'll see if I can put a link in the product description that you can buy about 30 of these for about £19. So the cut, again, not endorsed, but just really happy with those. I bought about 2 sets and I'm going to buy some more. So overall, what's the cost of this? Well, you get for $19.99 US, you get 2 sets of hills. You get all the hills to do foothills 1 and foothills 2. That's the STLs. You can buy, of course, the physical product. I'm not sure what the cost of the physical product is. If you're not in America or Canada or somewhere where you can get good postage for America, there is a company called Mighty Minis, which is spelled, the website is mighty-minis-uk.co.uk, I think. And I'll put that in the link, and they print lots of different things, but they print Thunderhead Studio products for sale in the UK, and I can definitely recommend them as well. So overall, a brilliant gameplay aid. It really just makes the map come alive. A few things that I really like. One, of course, it really fits with the ambience of the map. Really looks great. There are desert hills as well, and they've got a completely different kind of texturing. So their texturing looks more like sandstone, whereas this texturing is more kind of like granite hills. From a gameplay point of view, they're really excellent. So your hex bases of your mechs are really going to fit stably, and that's an important part. They're not going to fall off, but stably on these different hills, and that's going to really, really help. I think one disadvantage I've done where I've flocked them quite heavily is I have covered up the seams between the hexes. So that could create a bit of a gameplay issue, but that's just me. When you've actually printed these without the flocking, you can actually see the seams quite clearly, but I don't think it's that bad. And also, it doesn't look too hexy. I think one of the problems with creating hills is they do look very, very, what can I say? It's very obvious that they're hexy, and they've got nice smoothed edges. They look much more natural. Again, the only other problem with these hills is they're not really suitable to use for Alpha Strike, because they are map scale hills designed for hex terrain. They're not hills designed for larger scale, and so they're not really good for if you're playing non-map based Alpha Strike, but great for Battletech. And you don't have to use them with just this map. You can of course buy a map from, say, for instance, Deep Cut Studios, which is where I bought my 6x4 desert map or Badlands map, and these go greatly on that, and I can just put them and make up my own table with all of the hills I have. So 10 pieces for basically $10, so that's two sets for $20. It's really good value if you're into STL printing, and if you want to actually just buy the physical products. I saw on Mighty Minis UK, he was doing 2 grassland map packs for about £50. So that's a pretty good value considering the time. It's taking me about a week or few days to print all of these, and I've been printing basically all day. So they do take a while if you're printing them in STLs, and as I said, they can go from anywhere from 6 to or 5 to 17 hours. But I didn't have any fails, or the quality of the print was really good. And now that I've leveled my printer, they've all come out really good without any obvious lines. But the only problem I get now and again is a little bit of lifting, so I need to go back and do my leveling a little bit more. Again, sometimes just one nudge is enough, or if you're lucky enough to have one of these Blue Touch ones which levels itself, that's great. But I'm really happy with this product, and I'm at the moment starting to print the second one out. To give you an idea of the amount of filament cost, this was about 3/4, maybe 80% of a roll of filament at a cost of about 18 to 20 pounds basically. But I think mine was 19 this time. It varies when we buy them off of Amazon. So really great, and really happy with this. Until next time, see you there.